What's going on, y'all? So listen. What's going on, y'all? So we back again for another episode review of The Shy Girl. I'm actually filming this at 1:13 in the morning. Only because I'm trying to get all my videos out because this weekend I'm not going to be at home. I'm going to be with my mom. For those that don't know, yeah, she just had surgery recently. So going out there. But girl, baby, The Shy. Oh. I don't know how many episodes we get in this season, but I will say one thing was real random in this episode. First of all, this is season 7, episode 7. Okay, unfinished business, and I will say this episode was pretty good. It was kind of good. It really was. Wow. Let's just get past the Ezekiel out the way, okay? Now, I wish they kind of would have, well, before we get into that, the whole situation with Jamal, after the way that happened, I really thought that they was going to come back and they're going to be like, oh my God, the aftermath, or actually seeing the cops coming to get him and all that stuff, whatever. I want to know who came and picked him up. Did Reg actually call the cops to get him picked up or whatever? Because that man literally walked over him and picked up his food and went back in the house. Like, what? Okay, and so that's all that I truly want to know. Who put him into the hospital? Because he did eventually get into the hospital. They had to put him in a medically induced coma, but he is okay. Dom was there. Lene is there. And, of course, Lene is giving her a lot of lip. Mind you, I said let's talk about the pastor first, and I wound up talking about Jamal. But it doesn't matter, okay? She's giving her a lot of back talk and basically, telling her, like, girl, I don't want to be with you. You're not my family and all this stuff. And I'm like, I get how you feel that your brother that you probably just got back all of a sudden got this woman randomly. You don't know nothing about her. He barely knows anything about her. And now all of a sudden she wants to come in making the decisions, talking about some of her family and, basically not taking over his life, but being a part of his life and getting his attention. That's what it feels like. But at the same time, Lene, you're going to have to grow up, okay? Because I could see if Dom was giving off, I'm trying to take over, I'm trying to get all of his attention, you don't matter type of situation. But that's not what she's giving off. And she, showed it more so in this episode. They had a little moment when they was cooking. We found out why and how she started to cook Dom, and saying she used to watch the Food Network all the time, and her grandmama said the way to a man's heart is through their stomach, and how she used to cook all the time for her crushes and stuff like that. And they had a moment where she was saying that she wanted people to see her, and that Jamal was the only one that actually saw her. And Lene was like, people see you, because they both was going through the insecurities that they have. They both feel like they're invisible and nobody sees them. Baby, when I tell you, that actually touched home with me, because y'all already know, if you don't, I had that feeling all the time. You're putting yourself out there for people and it backfires, or, kind of find out they're playing games and all this stuff, or, you just feel like you're in the background. You're, people like what you do, but they don't really like you, or, they claim to like you, but they don't. All of that stuff plays a part. So I really resonated with that, kind of going through it right now. But, it was that moment that really kind of broke the ice between Dom and Lene, and they came together. My whole thing is, Lene, you like 19 years old. You're 18, 19 years old. You're gonna have to grow up, okay? You're gonna have to grow up, but I get it. That's her big brother. She did spend some time without him because he was trying to protect her, and so yeah, that's gonna be her big brother. And I do like the fact that they do have that relationship. And Alicia coming through and paying the hospital bill. And Lene said, girl, we don't want your help. The way Alicia looked at her, girl, I said, oh, Lene, calm it down, because I don't want you to go on her list, okay? She's giving very much Jennifer Lewis, the Dean on A Different World. It's going on my list, okay? Because, listen, that list is long right about now. It's like every episode she's adding a new name, or she's checking it twice to make sure they still there, because she gonna take care of their asses, all right? And I was like, Tiffany somewhat got put on that damn list last week. You know, Lene, girl, you gonna get put on the list, okay? Rashad probably on the list now. Girl, Nuck been on the list, okay? And so you got a whole bunch of stuff that's just happening. But, you know, Lene was like, I don't trust that lady. And Dom said, well, I don't either, but, you know, somebody give you money, go ahead and get it, because they ain't going to be able to pay for the hospital bill. So you got somebody offering to pay for the hospital bill. That's one stress that's taken off of you right there. And Lene was like, yeah, but when you do stuff like that does not come without a cost. Okay? So I said, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It doesn't. You know, but then again, it probably could go without a cost in this situation, because Alicia probably feels slightly guilty that he's in that situation, because she was not trying to, you know, hurt him. She was trying to hurt Reg, okay? But let's get to Pastor Ezekiel. Pastor Ezekiel, child, he had to have a meeting with Papa. He had to have a meeting with Charles, because, girl, why did that white woman put that picture up of them on Instagram, of them hugging, kissing, looking at each other all lovingly and everything? And they was like, girl, this is not gonna go well. This is not gonna go real. You got D-Ray character, who is this basically Dr. Umar, okay? No snow bunnies, you know, that type of situation. He goes live instantly when the picture get up there, and basically telling everybody to denounce him. Like, how you supposed to be for the black community, but you up here with the white woman and all this stuff or whatever. You done went over there to the other side and all this stuff. Now, on the one hand, like, I want to be 100% honest, okay? Do I have a problem with interracial relationships? For the most part, maybe because I see it so much, I'm desensitized to it, right? There was once upon a time that I probably would have said, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? But it comes to a point, and I feel like where that comes from is because of the heavy racism and style of stuff that's been going on at the time or whatever. But it comes to a point now, where it was really coming from is the ones who, especially if they're a black person, and that could be a black woman or a black man, because there's some black women that do the same thing too. We just don't, it's just not really talked about that much, or it's just not really that prevalent, you know what I'm saying? But it happens. The ones that really get with somebody of another race on purpose, like, you know, it's this whole thing about preference and all that. Okay, that's fine. But you get with somebody of another race and you look down upon your race. I never understood that. I never understood that type of situation. Like, how do you look down? So that means that you look down on your mom, you look down on your father, you look down on your siblings, or whoever that's the same race as you. You know what I'm saying? That stuff bothers me. Okay. So in that instance, I don't support it. But if it's genuine and the stuff happened naturally, girl, do what you got to do. Now, do I want to get into an interracial relationship, baby? If I were to get into an interracial relationship, and I know this is probably going to be on the thing of preference, but probably as far as I go with an Afro-Latino. Okay, you have to be a little melanated. You have to be a lot of melanated. Okay, for me, you know, it's just we could be friends if you're not. But as far as getting into a relationship, absolutely not. It just doesn't float my boat that way. It really don't. I was looking at the Queer Love Ultimatum, and I was like, damn, there's a whole lot of white folks on here, and they're not even Anyway, moving on from that. But yeah, so you got that going on, and you know, in the way that the times is, if you talking about black people, black love, and all this stuff, whatever, and your church is dominantly black, that's like bringing the enemy into the territory. You know what I'm saying? And that's where they coming from, right? And of course, Pastor Ezekiel did not tell her to put that picture up. And so they trying to sit down and have a conversation about what this going on and, you know, how this is going to affect them. And then Papa said, listen, you're going to have to do something about this shit because it's coming into my comments. He said, oh, so that's the reason why you up here. He was like, I mean, partly. But at the same time, you want to save your church, right? You don't want your members to leave, right? Okay, you can't and then to come to find out, Pastor Ezekiel divorced 2 black women already. And then you're going to end up with this white woman. See, that's the thing. And I was like, damn, you was with somebody prior Which, okay, yeah, because he has Kenya, the daughter, right? So he probably 9 was married to her mother. They got divorced, and then got with the other first lady. They're now divorced because of her philandering, out here just being out here being a groomer and just being a whole just nasty bitch. Okay, mind you, they both were cheating on each other, or they both was doing their own thing. That's the arrangement that they had. But you took it too far by playing around with little kid. Okay, because that's literally what Jake is. Compared to your grown ass, nasty. But so he got to deal with that girl. Miss Mary, we gonna call her Miss Mary. Okay, she come up in there. He said, "Bitch, why the fuck you put that picture up?" Girl, what? I said, see, this is why I can't, and this is another reason why I cannot. We can be friends, but I cannot be in a relationship with someone, and even friends, that we could be friends. It's the difference between being friends and being in a relationship, but cause I can just cut you, well, I could cut you off on both. But honestly, you want to know what it really is? I don't want to have to sit here and explain to you the reason why black folks go through this and why black folks feel this and why you can't say this and do that because this and this and this and this and this. I don't feel like teaching. Okay, I'm in a relationship, baby. I don't feel like teaching. You should already know. And that's what it felt like. Like he basically, because she was like, oh, why do you care about what other people think? Girl. Because I'm a nigga. Okay, that's literally what it is. But she was like, well, you call me when you figure out what it is that you want and you can get. I said, Miss Mary Mack, you gonna have to go back, okay? Because I'm a little bit tired of you. I liked you back in the day when you just was there and you didn't say nothing, okay? Because you getting a little beside yourself, all right? Meanwhile, you got Victor and Nuck going over there helping out with Tiffany. Baby, they in a love triangle, and they, without any type of, official triangle, they on Love Island, baby. Okay, it's giving very much when who is the niggas? It's giving very much Casa Amor. Okay, because everybody is damn near in a love triangle who was already with somebody else. All right, because listen, Nuck, mind you, this is fresh because she wasn't with neither one of these niggas, okay? She wasn't with neither one of them. I really want her to get with Victor, okay? And I get that she already told Alicia, listen, girlfriend, at the end of the day, I'm not even looking to get with nobody because Rob was the love of my life. And I was so surprised when Alicia was like, yeah, okay, She basically kept it real like, you think that you ain't finna get with nobody else, baby, you gonna wind up getting with somebody else. And she didn't have no problem with that because she told her, if you wind up getting with somebody else, you can go ahead and get with Victor. I have no problems with that. That Nuck nigga, absolutely the fuck not. Alicia, Tiffany was like, well, what you mean? Why do you hate Nuck so much? Why you don't like him? Because he took my glory from me. Okay, basically she pissed off at the fact that he went on ahead and killed Duda before she could. Bitch, when Tiffany said, you probably was up there talking too goddamn much instead of getting to the point of pulling the trigger and doing it yourself. I said, you know what? I said, Tiffany, you ain't had to put her on blast because that's exactly what happened. Girl, Alicia said, well, I had some shit to get up off my chest, okay? And he came in and took that moment from me. I said, well, but at the same time, Nuck, you are diabolical. This is so twisted. This is so ridiculous. And I don't know how you think this is going to end in your favor, baby boy. Okay? First of all, I feel like Nuck is really cute, and I don't really do light skins like that. But Nuck is a really nice looking guy, okay? Street nigga too. But anyway, you got that going on now. I was just like, girl, what? They up there trying to help her set up the nursery and all that stuff. Alicia was looking. That's what prompted the whole conversation or whatever. They going back and forth, trying to one up each other and all that stuff. And here go Victor, so I read about, breastfeeding or, something or whatever. It was like, nigga, what you talking about? Because it was like, I ain't never been around no baby. They going back and forth trying to one up each other. And I said, please, at this point, Tiffany, I feel like you don't need to get with anybody. Okay, but if you do decide to get with somebody, please let it be Victor, because at the end of the day, if she gets with Nuck, it's going to hurt her when the truth comes out that he killed Rob, after she literally just said that Rob was the love of her life and she don't want to be with nobody else right about now. Okay, she on her Lauren London. She on her Lauren London. Okay, and that really hurts me so much to see this, because you are living foul, Nuck. You took that woman's man from her, the father of her child. Baby, when he said, because these bills, you can't say nothing because the baby need dad. And then Victor was like, well, the daddy dead, okay, because he wanted to be around. It was like, you don't need to be around. It was like, well, he need a father figure. He got his father. Well, the father is dead. And then Nuck kind of shut the fuck up because, oops, I forgot. I'm the one that killed his ass. And so we see this scene where he's going and he's talking to Pastor Ezekiel, and basically he's feeling that guilt. He's feeling that guilt. And Pastor Ezekiel is telling him, you need to tell her the truth. Because not only is he feeling the guilt, I feel like he actually really do like Tiffany. He really, really do like Tiffany. And so he don't want to tell her the truth, because he already know that she's not going to accept that. And 9 out of 10, that's going to be a nail in his coffin. Because if he tells her the truth, she's going to tell Alicia. And Alicia going to take care of that. We just saw the scene where she had to sit down with the judge, Miss Judge. And, Alicia out here want to play judge and jury. Okay, she wants to be the end-all, be-all decision maker. Who's going to get taken out the street? Who's going to jail? Who's going doing this and doing that? Because basically, either she told old girl, either we gonna kill them or you gonna lock their asses up. Now I need you to figure out who the hell this Reg nigga is and lock him up. She said, give me a whole name and then I do what I can do. Then it comes down to Reg, and I just need him to go. They can't lock him up. They had to kill his ass this time and make sure the post is not posting. Okay, make sure it's flatline. Beep. That's all I want to hear. Okay, that is all I want to hear. Is the chest moving? No. There it is. Okay, push him a little bit to make sure. Okay, because what he's doing is just disrupting the system right now. We was doing all to the good girl. Granted, this what we act. Well, at least I did. Some little drama, or whatever. But now I need the nigga go. Okay, because he listen. I'm glad that Jake is kind of stepping up a little bit. And not bowing down to him, or I should say cowering down to him. But the friend, Brandon's cousin, he was over there at the place, and they over there going over the whole situation. And, he trying to figure out who took a shot at him, who tried to take him out. And for some reason, he wants to believe that it was Rashad. It was like, was it Rashad? And then Jake was like, hell no, Rashad ain't gonna do no shit like that. Could be his lady, Alicia and all that. But other than that, no. So now Reg wants Alicia gone. Reg wants Nuck gone, and Alicia. Okay? And told Jake to go down there and tell the mob to protect him. Bitch, how about you tell him? But Jake went on ahead and did that, and then ran into Nuck. And, he gonna ask him, you tried to kill my brother? He said, listen, if I wanted to kill your brother, I wouldn't have tried to, baby. Your brother would still be, it wasn't no try to kill him. I would have killed him. Your brother would be dead right now. But tell your brother, you need something, you need the mob, you come talk to me. Whatever you need, come talk to me. Okay? But at this point, I ain't get the scene, I guess this whole situation with Corey Hodrick. I just feel like Lena Waithe is just trying to give people acting roles, okay? Put a little change in their pocket, because what was the point of Dante and Regan Gomez? Shout out to her, Zaria. But what was the point of them? Besides the fact that Reg was coming up there taking his girl. Mind you, that ain't really his girl. They ain't got no title on it, but he came with her. And as soon as he goes downstairs to go get the mushrooms out the trunk, you just try to take your move and basically trying to get another woman under your belt. Like, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, moving on from that. That was just a throwaway scene. Moving on. Also, it is Darnell's birthday, right? Let me, I want to say that to last, okay? Emmett is feeling some type of way. He is feeling like he is not getting enough attention from Keisha because Keisha is all about the kids. Now, when we say niggas be trying to mature and evolve, they do, and then they do something to take a couple of steps back. And I feel like this is a couple of steps back. But on the flip side, I understand. But at the same time, you help get this situation the way that it's at, okay? He is in his feelings about the fact that he feels as though that Keisha is more so all about the kids and not about him. He wants to say not about us, meaning him and Keisha, but it's really about him, okay? And I just don't understand what it is about certain men who get jealous or feel some type of way when the attention is not on them, but you wanted these kids. And you feel some type of way that your woman got to do all this work for the kids and put all her attention on the kids because you're not helping 100%. Yeah, you going to work, but what she got to do? She is taking care of her child plus all 3 of your kids. Okay, that's 4 kids. Plus carrying the one that's not here yet. That's 5 goddamn kids. Okay? And you got the nerve to get in your feelings about not getting a little bit of me time when you want it and all that stuff, going to the hotel, trying to make it seem like she's always on the phone. She is a mother with young children and plus your own. Okay? So yes, she's going to have that phone on her so that she can know what's going on. I don't see the problem. All right? Do they probably, yeah, balance it out, but at the same time, quit complaining. Why don't you offer the help? You should even offer the help. You should just be helping because, again, you help make those kids. And again, she's doing it out the kindness of her heart, taking care of your kids because ain't none of them kids that's yours is hers. Only the ones that she carrying in her stomach. That's the only child that's yours and hers. Okay? Other than that, she ain't got to take care of them kids. She taking care of them kids because she wants to and she doing it out of love for you. Mind you, y'all not married. It was like, I just want my wife to do this. And she said, well, bitch, I'm not your wife. He was like, oh, so if we was married, you would do it. Bitch, that's not the point. Okay? That is not the point. It's like, yeah, I know you working or whatever, but at the same time, you can, come home and wash a dish or 2. Come home and help cook some little, make a couple of sandwiches for the kids' lunch or whatever. Pick up the toys for me or whatever. Because at the end of the day, those are your kids. Mine is Ronnie. Those are your kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, have some consideration. You see that she's going through a lot because she's carrying your big head ass baby. And her hormones are just all over the goddamn place. Okay? Have a little consideration. But they eventually worked their shit out. She basically was like, I'll give you a little bit more attention. He said, I'll help out a little bit more. And I do like the fact that they came to that conclusion because I don't want to see them break up. I really don't. I don't. This is probably the most mature that we've ever seen Emmett or ever thought that Emmett could be. Okay? Meanwhile, what else is going on? Rashad, he had came outside of Alicia's place. Reg was out there. And they having a conversation because at this point, Rashad was about to take him out. It was like, damn, nigga, you almost got your ass shot. Okay? And it was like, yo, bro, so you up here, this your lady house? He was like, first of all, this ain't my woman, but you still protect her. I mean, that's my goddamn job. He was like, what about loyalty? Okay? Because come to find out, we already knew that Victor and Rashad was friends, okay? And they've been friends for years. And so he also basically was like a big brother to Reg as well. And so that's why he was screaming about loyalty and all this stuff when it comes down to it. And at the end of the day, Rashad said what he needed to say. He said, regardless of that, I'm out here by myself. I'm for myself right about now when it comes to this shit. Because he wants him to pick sides. He wants him to be, oh, well, this bitch tried to take me out. Well, he was in the car. He was the getaway driver, okay? So let's get it real, all right? And I feel a little bit bad for Rashad because of the history between him and them. Again, we established that he was an example, and he even said that maybe me and your brother didn't give you the right guidance, and we could have did more because look how you turned out. And he's kind of regretting that. But he still got love for Reg. Reg still said, at the end of the day, you still family regardless, okay? So I hope that he continue to think that way and do not try to touch Rashad when all this stuff go down, that when he try to take out Alicia, right? Shy go up in the house and he tells Alicia that, he met up with Reg, and she was like, why you talking to him and all this shit? And I was like, well, hold the fuck up. I'm doing all this because once, I know him, I know his brother, whatever. Okay, so what else you ain't telling me? I was like, calm down. The situation is tough what it is, but you doing a lot. So what you think you gonna do? Basically acting like you God, and she said, who said I wasn't? I said, wait a minute, bitch. It was just a lot. Alicia getting beside herself because of grief. That's just really what it is. And, she talking out the side of her neck. And basically, Rashad said, you know what, I'm just over it and I'm done with it, because she was saying how we're trying to put the motherfuckers in jail. We're going to put Reg in jail and all that shit. And he said, who the fuck is you to say some shit like that? Who the fuck is you to decide that? Are you God? Like, you acting like you God. She said, who the fuck say I'm not? I said, whoa, hold on, we're crossing the line. And that's when Rashad had to step off the corner. And my thing is, with Rashad, what she's saying is right, but it's still, regardless of how everything is going down, it's still that loyalty, that blind loyalty, especially the Trig and all that stuff or whatever, and the fact that they do got that history. And it's like, how can you say that he deserves to go to jail? He deserves to go to jail. He do not deserve to be on the streets, okay? With all of the stuff that he has been doing, he does not deserve to be on the street. He does deserve to be locked up. And so that was just the line for him, that he was over it. He was like, I'm out of here. She said, well, first of all, your shift ain't over. And then grabbed him and put her, imagine they broke up. Grabbed his arm and had it behind her or whatever, as if they was a couple. I was like, what, you thought he was going to get some angry sex out of him or whatever? He said, what you going to do about it? And walked the fuck up out of there. I said, damn, Rashad, you just got put on her list. You're on my list, okay? You just got put on her list, bitch. But she felt some type of way. And then that's when she went on ahead and she did the thing with Jamal and paid for his hospital bills and all that stuff. That's the least you could do, bitch. Okay? But then we see Miss Judge lady, she was talking to Detective Toussaint. She said, listen, girlfriend, do you know Reginald Taylor? And she said, yeah, I do. And it was like, well, what I need you to do, I need you to go find his ass, bring him in alive. And then if you do that, I'll make it that your son get out of jail. She said, oh, that ain't no problem. I was going to do that anyway. Okay? I said, oh, all right, Detective Toussaint. Girl, get you something to do. Meanwhile, Damian got to go. What's the point? Damian is in debt to everybody named Mama. What's his name? Emmy gave him that $3,000 so that he could pay that debt off, right? Instead, he went and played spades and doubled it to $6,000 and lost it. Mind you, when you're playing spades in this thing, you got a partner. So Brandon brother was his partner, and Brandon brother came through, or I should say cousin, came through and said, bitch, you owe me $3,000, okay? He was like, what you talking about? We lost that. He said, no, you lost that. So therefore, you still owe me, because I didn't say that I wanted to do that shit. And I want my motherfucking money. Now, bitch, I ain't never see Brandon cousin try to be intimidating ever in his life. But for some reason, it worked on goddamn Damian, okay? And he said, well, give me a few weeks. And he said, well, no, I'll give you a few days, okay? So now he's stressing out. And Keith is around the corner. Because Keith is a part of the group as well now. He's coming to the men meetings and everything. We saw him get together with Rashad and Victor and Darnell and Keith and Emmett. They was just talking about what happened with Jamal. And I thought that Rashad was going to go ahead and tell him that, bitch, it was Alicia that did the shit. Okay. It was weighing on him, but he didn't say. But no. Keith basically told him, you know what, because Keith knew that he was gambling and knew about the gambling problems that he had. And he was like, oh, so you gambling again? He was like, yeah, but I was for sure thought I was going to win. I was going to be okay. And he said, that's the problem with gambling. You always thinking that you're going to be okay. That's how they get your ass, you know? And it was like, well, how much you owe? Oh, $3,000 to old boy. And it was like, well, get that. Don't the how much money in the register? I said, Keith, what the fuck you trying to do? I said, no, you not finna tell him to case the joint. No, he didn't necessarily say that. He said, well, isn't it some petty cash in the back in the safe? And he said, yeah. He said, why don't you go ahead and take that money from the back, give it to old boy, and hurry up and put the money back so that Emmy won't realize that it's gone. And of course, this fool did that. And of course, who finds out? Emmy. And guess who winds up taking, the big hit for it? Keith. Okay, Keith wound up getting fired because Damian wound up telling him that it was Keith's idea, and yet he the one that went on ahead and did it. Okay, now honestly, I get why Emmett rushed to fire him, but I really don't feel like he should have fired Keith. Okay, but the person that should have been fired was the person that actually took the money. He offered a suggestion. All right, Damian didn't have to do that. But I get it. It feels like it's a security type of issue. I can't trust you or whatever. But I really feel like Keith probably should have been like on, put him on a little probation or whatever. Because he can't get him to the safe. You know what I'm saying? So, he was trying to be on the up and up. He was trying to help old boy. But dude was stupid enough to go ahead and take that advice. Not all advice is good advice. And Damian was just so desperate in this situation that he got himself. He went on ahead and wasn't thinking and just went on ahead and took that. And we found out that he done got kicked out of his mama home because mama found out that he was gambling again, and now he needs somewhere to stay. He also needs that job. But I honestly, for some people, I know it's family and I know it hurts or whatever. If it said, bitch, you're back down to being half brother. Okay, you're back to being half brother. I just feel like Emmett should have just, if this is a situation where he relapsed into gambling and all that stuff, because that's what addiction does. Most of the time when people get through an addiction, they're going to relapse it, especially the first time after they do it. A lot of people relapse no matter what it is. Sometimes you got to do that tough love, and you should have just went on ahead and fired Damian. Damian should have been fired regardless, okay? You cannot be trusted. And now I got to change the codes on everything. Absolutely not. I ain't got time for that. And so, that's what's going to happen with that. Meanwhile, Darnell, it's his birthday. This is how the episode opens up. We see Darnell and Jada and him, they having a little smoke session, and it's like really all but love and all that stuff. That was a real shit. I said a couple that can smoke together and be functional. That's cute, whatever. And it's his birthday. She also has a doctor appointment. She couldn't get it scheduled on any other day. The doctor told her to come in. And I'm just honestly thinking that it was just a regular physical, bitch. And seriously, at one point, I forgot that she once was sick. Okay? Girl, she went to the doctor. And that lady told her, Miss Doctor said, listen, girlfriend, the cancer is back. It metastasized to your pancreas. Which means that I believe she had breast cancer. She went into chemo, all that stuff, went into remission. Okay? Went into remission. Meaning it wasn't detectable at the time. You're good for a minute. Did her checkup, baby. Not only did it come back, it's spreading. That's what metastasizing means. Okay, that means that the bitch is spreading to other areas. And now it's on your pancreas. It's on your pancreas. Baby, a lot of people, for the most part, I don't pancreatic, if you don't catch it right away, girl, that's death. And that's literally what the doctor told her. She was like, okay, so basically I could do chemo and I'll be good. She said, no. You can do chemo, but it ain't gonna help none. I said, wait. Mama could have been a little bit more tactful with her bedside manner. It wasn't rude, but I just felt it was real. Girl, she slid that in there with no Vaseline. She said, bitch, at the end of the day, you could try to do chemo, but it ain't gonna do nothing. What you need to do is take your ass home and go ahead and get your affairs in orders, because you still gonna die. That's basically what she said, girl. She basically said, nah, bitch, it ain't gonna help. You gonna die. I said, oh my God. the freak? Jada needed somebody with her to advocate for her, because that I would have been like, can I get a second opinion? Okay, I need to get a second opinion, for real, for real. Let me go to another hospital. Let me go to another doctor. Let me go to another specialist, because that wouldn't have sat well with me. And I felt so bad for that lady. She found this out on her husband's birthday. Girl, after he gave that little speech, when they was at the roller rink, and it was like, I got I got my family, my wife, my kids, and it was all them motherfuckers. He said, most of y'all here. I said, I forgot that Darnell got like 11 kids, okay? He got 1,000 kids, you know what I'm saying? And when he was bigging up her, and when they was finished, and she was trying to hold back tears, but she was crying a little bit. Oh my God, I felt so bad. Like, imagine having to go about your day as if nothing is wrong, and just so that you won't mess up the mood or mess up the event, because it's not about you technically, it's about your partner, because it's their birthday and you don't want to mess it up. So the next day, she did tell him. And I felt so bad for them. Oh my God. Because Darnell has grown too. And he even admitted to Emmy it took him way longer than it should have to realize who he was truly in love with and wanted to be with. Because Emmy said, I wanted this Darnell, and to have y'all together when I was growing up. And he said, yeah, that would have been nice too, but it took me a while to realize that this is where I wanted to be, and this is where I should have been, and this is who I'm in love with. And to come to that conclusion only to find out that it's a strong, strong possibility, according to that doctor, that your wife about to leave you. Oh, Lord have mercy. Child, Lena, I don't know what the fuck. What you trying to do, bitch? Then you got Bakari. Girl, Bakari had went up there to the hospital trying to get some flowers and talk to Lene. They said, bitch, you can go. He was like, I still love you, girl. I just want to be by myself, okay? Because you chose the streets over me. And I would have felt some type of way too, okay? But I really do like Bakari and Lene together. They so cute. And he do love that girl. But, he really felt like he ain't had no choice. Nuck was getting at him because of the whole situation with Reg and all that stuff, and he told him, and this is exactly what I said. He lied to Alicia and said that Reg was the one that killed Rob so that he could protect Nuck, so that Alicia could go ahead and take Reg out and it could be all over with. Bitch, I said I knew it. I caught that shit. Thank you. Okay? Sometimes when you be right, you be like, yup. That's how I was. I was like, girl, I was right. It be the little shit that be making me happy these days. I mean, I gotta take what I can get. Okay? Because shit just been wonky. But, girl, yeah. So he gotta deal with that. And then the fact that him and Jay can't talk no more. And it's not necessarily because neither one of them, they like, I'm not a part of this shit, but it's best that we can't talk, because he cool with Nook. He look like Bakari look at Nook like a big brother, or at least Nook looked at him like a little brother, because he got him staying with him, because he needed some place to stay, and he looking out for him, and they looking out for each other a little bit. And then you got Jake and Reg, you know what I'm saying, and Reg is just psychotic. So there's that. I feel bad. Bitch, everybody leaving the show. If everybody character about to get killed off or leaving the show, wow, I'm surprised it's getting another season. Well, truth be told, do we really need Jada character? Because honestly, we ain't even need Tracy character, but there she is, okay? Jada, we ain't really need to see her. She is a B, C character, whatever, not a main character like she once was. That's not the focus. So if she leaves, I mean, it'll probably be an issue with Emmy. He'll probably feel that grief or whatever. But all they got to do is do the same thing like they did Nina, baby. They ain't even mentioned Nina this season. Girl, Nina ain't popped up near one. Girl, if she gonna pop back up when Keisha give birth? I hope she does. Remember your child. Like, she ain't come to the shower. She ain't come to the bed. Girl, she ain't come to nothing yet. What type of grandmother are you? Following that around. What? Okay. The bull dagger. Ah, it is this lady that was on TikTok, and she old school, bitch. She old school. She said, I don't know, and she sound like a nigga for real, for real, for real. I was like, damn, bitch, I could just tell she had a lot of, and she probably still get a lot of pussy today. No shade, but she was like, y'all got all these titles and these labels or whatever, bitch. Back in my day and what I am now, I'm a bull dagger. That's all that it is to it. Fuck everything else. I'm a bull dagger, and that's just what I am. I said, God damn, bitch. At least you know. Okay. But yeah, you guys, a good episode. Now at this moment, I don't know what's gonna happen. Y'all notice that Papa and them ain't like Papa don't be kicking it with Jake no more. Jake don't be kicking it with Papa. Are they not close like that? The last time we saw them was at the together. Actually, was at the going away party for Gemma. Like, what's going on? The brotherhood ain't a brotherhood the way that it was ever since Kevin left. Like, it just split. It just split. Okay? But anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Okay? And I will see you guys later. Peace.